In this video, we're going to talk about the partnership operations. So this is not centered on how to manage the partnership business. Instead, we will be focusing on answering of two questions. Number one, how do the partners divide profits? So when we talk about partnership operations, it is already given that the partnership is already working to earn profits. And unlike sole proprietorships, where the 100% profit is attributed to a single owner only, the partnerships have a problem related to dividing profits among the partners. Actually, the majority of this video will discuss how to divide the profits. The second question that we need to answer is what will happen to the capital balance of each partner after distribution of profits and the drawings. Of course, the capital balance of the partners needs to be updated for share of the partners in the profits, as well as it should also be updated for the withdrawals or drawings of a partner or the partners. Now, to dig deeper on these two questions, let's compare first the computation of the capital balances for the sole proprietorship versus the partner's capital. And let's talk about in detail why are they different. So, to get the capital balance of a sole proprietor, you just need the beginning balance of the capital and then add the additional investment or contribution. Also, add the net income of the business. But if it is a net loss, then you should deduct it. You should also deduct the withdrawals. So if you do all this, then you will get the ending capital balance of the sole proprietor. The same is true with the computation of the partner's capital. They are only different in these two. First, the net income. Because again, here, there is an issue on how to divide profits. And the second one is in the withdrawal side. Because here in the partnership, there are two types of withdrawal. We have temporary withdrawals and permanent withdrawals. So temporary withdrawals are those drawings by a partner chargeable against his or her share on the net income of the partnership, while permanent withdrawals are chargeable against the capital contribution of the partner. That is why they are considered as return of investment. So, in sole proprietorship, distinction of withdrawals as to temporary or permanent is not applicable. Now, let's go back to the division of profits. So, how to divide profits? General answer: it is based on the agreement between the partners. But it is not as simple as dividing it 60% and 40%, for example, or divide it equally, or one-third or two-third division. It's not easy as that. Sometimes there are a lot of considerations. So, elaboration on those considerations will be up next. At this point, let's answer the first and the most important question that we need to answer in this video, which is again, how to divide profits among the partners. Again, the general answer is based on their agreement. However, again, most of the time, it is not as simple as, for example, there are three partners, and their agreement is just 50% to one of the partners, 30% to the other one, and 20% to the third partner. Sometimes it's much more complicated than that. So what I mean is sometimes partners agree on salaries. Why? To give justice to partners who are really hands-on the managing of the partnership business. However, you need to remember this. These salaries to partners are only a means of dividing and distributing profits to the partners. It's not the same with the salaries of employees, which are considered as expenses and shall be deducted in order to get the net income of the business. Again, these salaries to partners are not included in the salaries expenses of the employees. So if the problem states that salaries expenses in the operating expenses, for example, include salaries to partners, then you should remove it from there. The agreement as to dividing profits can also include provision for interest based on the capital contribution of partners. Of course, to give justice to partners who have given more capital than the other partners. So, to get the amount of interest, the agreed interest rate shall be multiplied with capital contribution or balance of the partners. The capital balance can be the original capital investment, or it can be the beginning capital balance, or the ending capital balance, or the average capital balance of the partners. So, the division of profit agreement aside from interest may also provide bonuses to partner or specific partners who has an edge that will contribute a lot to the success of the partnership. To understand more, I have here an example. Jane, a graduate of Harvard Business and a very popular celebrity, was given a bonus to entice him to join the partnership business. So Jane here has an edge being a Harvard graduate and a celebrity, which can be used by the partnership business to succeed. So she is given a bonus. So I hope you understand what bonuses means. So now, how to get the amount of the bonus? That's just agreed bonus rate times the net income. However, there are a lot of types of net income that can be the basis for bonus. So what do I mean? The bonus rate can be multiplied to net income before deduction of taxes and before deduction of salaries, before deduction of interest, and before bonuses are also deducted. The bonus rate can also be multiplied with net income after deduction of taxes, salaries, interest, and after deduction also of bonuses. Or it can be based on a complicated one like this one. Net income after deduction of taxes, but before deduction of bonuses, but after deduction of salaries, but before deduction of interest. And there are a lot of possible combinations. To clarify all of this, we're going to solve an illustrative problem later. For now, you need to remember that bonuses can only be given if the net income in which the bonus rate is to be multiplied is positive. So the moment the net income basis is negative, like for example, if in the problem, the bonus rate is to be based in the net income before deduction of all the taxes, the interest, salaries, and bonuses, tapos it's already negative, then the bonus that you will give is zero. So that's all for the theory of bonuses. But before we go to the computation, let's consider what if the net income to be distributed is very large, that even if salaries, interest, and bonuses are already given, there is still a big amount left. So what will we do? Of course, divide it based on the ratio or proportion agreed upon, like divide it equally or 60-40 or 1/4 3/4 in fraction. So that's it. Now let's apply what we have learned in an illustrative problem later. Again, let's answer the question, how do we divide profits among the partners using an illustrative problem? So we have here Patrick, Jane, and Teresa Lisbon started their partnership business named The Mentalist. The details of their capital contribution for the year 20x1 are as follows. So let's start with Teresa. Teresa contributed at the beginning of the year 300,000 but withdrawn 60,000 on 4/1/20x1. So I would like to emphasize that this withdrawal is permanent, or a withdrawal that is charged against Teresa's investment and not a withdrawal against her share in the future profits of the partnership. So aside from these two, Teresa contributed again on 10/1/20x1 a capital of 90,000. So the ending balance of Teresa's capital before her share in profits and before considering her temporary drawings is 330,000. On the other hand, Patrick contributed at the very beginning only 180,000, but he then added his investment by 30,000 on July 1, 20x1 and another 30,000 on 10/1/20x1. So Patrick's capital became 240,000. And that's it for their capital contributions. The Mentalist partnership started its first year of operations and it resulted in the following. So they had revenues of 700,000 with overall expenses of 300,000. So the net income before taxes is 400,000. In this problem, the tax rate is given at 25%. So we have taxes of 100,000. So that's 400,000 times 25%. So 400,000 minus the taxes of 100,000. So the net income after taxes is 300,000. Now, this amount should be divided by Teresa and Patrick. So continuing this illustration, this sample problem also includes the profit division agreement of Patrick and Teresa, and it provides for the following. So first, Patrick as the manager was given salaries of 12,000 a month, while Teresa is given salaries of 6,000 a month only. So interest of 25% based on the average capital balances of both Patrick and Teresa is also provided in the agreement. And then 15% bonus is to be given to Patrick Jane based on the net income before deduction of the taxes and before deduction of the salaries, but after deducting interest and the bonuses. So if ever there are remainder profits, it will be divided 55% to Patrick and 45% to Teresa. So that's the whole situation. The question is, how much profit shall be given to Patrick and how much profit shall be given to Jane? And since we're already familiar with the details, let's start developing a solution. Let's begin with the net income that should be distributed. And we have here 300,000. It means that what you're going to divide to the partners is the net income after taxes are deducted. Now, let's give them the salaries first. Since the problem stated that Teresa is to receive 6,000 a month, you just multiply it by 12 months, so Teresa's salaries will be worth 72,000 in a year. And since Patrick is a manager, he has a salary of 12,000 a month times 12 months, so his annual salary is 144,000. And if you process this information more, you can total the salaries, which is 72,000 plus 144,000, and you will have 216,000. So if you're going to give this 216,000 out of the 300,000, only 84,000 will be undistributed. Now, it's time to give 25% interest to the partners. But I would like to clarify something first. I distributed the salaries first in this solution. However, there is no rule that salaries should be given first. Actually, you can choose to satisfy the interest first or the bonuses first. But for me personally, I always start with the giving of the salaries first because it's usually easier to compute the amounts of salaries. So, up next, we'll have to compute the interest to be given to Teresa and Patrick. So, stay tuned. So we are now on the computation of interest for the two partners. So this will be a little bit complicated because of this given. So it is said here that interest to be given is 25% based on the average capital balance. So we need to get the average capital first from this given. So we have here Teresa's and Patrick's capital contribution and permanent withdrawal. Take note of this. Do not ever include the temporary withdrawals when computing for the average capital. Okay? Now, let's move forward. Actually, these are the only information necessary to get the interest. Now, let's compute for the average capital. But before that, imagine if the interest rate of 25% is just to be based only on the beginning or original capital balance. It would be very easy, right? Because it will just be 300,000 times 25% for Teresa and 180,000 times 25% for Patrick. Or what if the 25% is based on the ending capital balance? It would still be easy, right? But since The illustrative problem wants to base the interest rate with the average capital. We have no choice but to answer how to get the average capital balance. So let's start with Teresa's. So on 1/120x1, Teresa contributed 300,000, right? So to get the average balance, let's multiply it with a fraction, with the numerator pertaining to number of months that's needed to pass to get to the year end. The year end in this case is December 31, 20x1. And since the contribution date is 1/1/20x1, so from here, how many months needs to pass to get to 12/31/20x1? The answer is 12 months, right? So that's the numerator, 12. The denominator is fixed at 12. So 300,000 times 12 over 12 equals 300,000 still. So to understand the process more, let's go directly to the second date, which is 4/1/20x1. Let's go directly to the numerator. How many months from this date, 4/1/20x1, to 12/31/20x1? Answer, 9 months. So 9 is the numerator over 12, which is the fixed denominator. So negative 60,000 times 9 over 12. And then we will have negative 45,000. And lastly, we have on 10/120x1, Teresa contributed 90,000. So let's multiply it with 3 over 12 since October 1 to December 31 is 3 months. And you will get 22,500. Let's get the sum of these and we will have the average capital of Teresa, which is 277,500. But before we multiply this with interest rate of 25%, there is another method on how to get the average capital, which focuses on the outstanding capital balance rather than the contribution and withdrawals. So what I mean is, for example, here on 1/120x1, the capital balance is of course 300,000 because Teresa contributed that at the beginning of the year. But on 4/120x1, instead of putting here the withdrawal of 60,000, we will put here 240,000, which is the outstanding balance of capital coming from 300,000 minus 60,000 withdrawal. And on 10/120x1, instead of putting here the 90,000 contribution of Teresa, we have to put here 240,000 plus 90,000 contribution, and we will have 330,000. So that's what I mean about the balances. So these balances will still be multiplied with a fraction also. However, the numerator will be the number of months that the balance has been outstanding, although the denominator will still be 12. So what do I mean? Let's have this 300,000. How many months did this balance stayed as 300,000? Answer, only 3 months. Because in 4/120x1, it changed from 300,000 to 240,000. And so we will multiply it with 3 over 12 and we will get 120,000. The balance, 240,000, stayed for 6 months, and that's from 4/120x1 to 10/120x1. So we will multiply it with 6 over 12 to get the 120,000. And lastly, the 330,000 balance stayed for 3 months only, which is from 10/1 to December 31. So we will multiply it with 3 over 12 to get 82,500. So now, if you get the sum of all these three, then you will have the same answer as this solution. But here, you use the outstanding balance method. So for me personally, I don't use this method. I use this one because for me, it's much easier. Now, when we compute the average capital of Patrick, we will use the first method. But if you want to try the second method on Patrick's, it's up to you. Anyways, again, the average capital of Teresa is 277,500. So to get the interest, just multiply it with 25% agreed interest rate and you will get 69,375. Now, let's go to Patrick's capital. Let's start with 180,000 times 12 over 12 equals 180,000 still. The contribution on 7120x1 shall be multiplied by 6 over 12 because 7120x1 to 123120x1 is 6 months. So 30,000 times 6 over 12, then we will have 15,000. And lastly, we have Patrick's contribution of another 30,000 on October 1. So we multiply it with 3 over 12 and we will get 7,500. So just add this all up and you will get the average capital of Patrick, which is 202,500. That average capital shall then be multiplied with 25% agreed interest rate and we will get 50,625 as Patrick's interest. So that's it. Now, let's bring these two here. Interest for Teresa is 69,375 while Patrick's is 50,625 and the total of these two is 120,000. The problem is that the 300,000 net income for distribution, the 216,000 has already been given as salaries. That is why the remaining to be distributed is only 84,000 already. But the total interest to be given is 120,000. So, the question is, are we still going to give the interest? What do you think? The answer is yes. So, since we're going to give the 120,000 interest, 84,000 minus 120,000, the amount to be distributed will become negative 36,000. But it's okay. Second problem that we need to answer is, are we still going to give a bonus to Patrick if this is already negative? Answer, yes. Here is what you need to remember always. So, even if the remaining to be distributed becomes negative, bonus or bonuses will still be given as long as the bonus rate of 15% in this example will be based on a net income that is still positive. Meaning, in this example, as long as the net income before taxes, before salaries, but after deduction of interest and after deduction of bonus is still positive, then bonuses will still be given. In short, the giving of bonuses has nothing to do with this one. It has something to do with this, the net income where the bonus rate is to be based. So let's compute for the bonus after this. Now we are on the bonus computation. But first, let's extract some important information from the illustrative problem to get the bonus. So first, we have the results of the operations. Second, we have the distribution solution so far. And the third, we have the bonus agreement in the profit distribution, which states that 15% bonus will be given to Patrick Jane based on the net income before taxes and before salaries, but after the interest and after the bonuses. So those are the important information. Now let's compute. Actually, you will use algebra in computing for the bonus. Bonus, again, according to the agreement, is 15% based on the net income before taxes and before salaries, but after interest and after deduction of bonus. So the question here is, what will we put in the equation? So, as you see here, there are two types of income presented. This 400,000, which if you put a complete label, it's a net income before everything. Like it's before deduction of taxes, before deduction of salaries to partners, before interest, and before bonuses also. And the other net income provided in the problem is 300,000, which is after taxes but before everything else. So the question is, which of these two will be used? So for me, I'll use 400,000 because it is already before taxes. And that's one of the conditions present in the agreement. So if I use 400,000, then I have already satisfied the condition that 15% bonus rate shall be based on the net income before taxes. Plus, this 400,000 is also before salaries already. So two conditions are already met by the 400,000 net income. The only conditions that were not yet met by the 400,000 is that first, it should be after deduction of interest. But it is easy to meet that requirement. You just have to deduct from 400,000 the total interest here of 120,000. And there you go. It's already after interest. The other condition is that the net income should be after bonus. And since we don't know the bonus yet, let's deduct from this the unknown B. So now, we can simplify the equation because it's already complete. B is equivalent to 15%, but this 400,000 to 1 minus 100,000 should be simplified, and you will get 280,000. Still minus B. Simplifying further, B is equal to 15% times 280,000, and you will get 42,000. 15% times negative B equals negative 0.15B. So you need to transpose this negative 0.15B to the left side, and it will become positive. And since there is already a B here, or 1B, so 1B plus 0.15B, we will have 1.15B on the left side, while 42,000 will be left here. So again, we have 1.15B equals 42,000. So to get the B, or the bonus, we need to divide both left and right side with 1.15. And we will get a bonus for Patrick of 36,521.74. So, well, you can always do the checking. How? First, let's have the 400,000 net income before taxes, before salaries, before interest, and before bonuses. And since the agreement states that net income basis should be after interest and after bonus, let's deduct 120,000 interest, and let's deduct also the bonus that we have computed. And we will get the net income basis of 243,478.26. And now, let's multiply it with the agreed bonus rate of 15%. And we will get Patrick Jane's bonus of 36,521.74, which is exactly the same with this one. So that's how you compute for the bonus. But before we end this slide, please remember these two things. Number one, bonus will be given if the net income basis, like this one, is positive. So if the basis becomes negative, then the bonus will be 0. And number two, know the type of net income amount which is given in the problem. Is it before taxes, before salaries, interest, and bonuses, or is it after? So that you'll be able to match it with the required or the agreed net income basis. Just like this 400,000, you need to know if this is after or before salaries, taxes, interest, and bonuses, because you're going to match it with the required net income based on the agreement. So that's it for the bonus computation. So we came from the computation of bonus, which is 36,521.74 for Patrick Jane. Now, let's put it here. So with the same total bonuses, and since we already have 36,000 as the remaining to be distributed, plus we need to give this bonus to Patrick Jane, then to be distributed negative amount will become negative 72,521.74. But don't worry, because they will be distributed to Patrick and Teresa based on their agreement here, which is 45% for Teresa and 55% for Patrick. So 45% times 72,521.74 equals 32,634.78, which will be the share of Teresa. And for Patrick, we will have again 72,521.74 times 55%. So Patrick will have a share of negative 39,886.96. So that's how you distribute. Now, let's add their salaries, interest, bonus, and the remainder. So for Teresa, the sum of this is 108,740.22. And for Patrick, we have 191,259.78. So if you add these two, you will really have 300,000. And if you have that, then we are successful in the distribution of the net income after taxes. So that's how you distribute the profits. But wait, what if there is a follow-up question like how much is the ending capital balance of Teresa and Patrick? Well, to answer that, we just have to fill this up with the details from the given. And of course, based on our recent profit distribution solution. So let's start with Teresa. So let's put here her initial contribution, which is 300,000. And since she made a permanent withdrawal of 60,000, let's put it right here. But she also added contribution on October 1, right? So let's put it here. Also, let's put her share in the net income right here. But since in the problem, it was stated that they are given salaries, Patrick and Teresa. So they have temporary drawings. So on Teresa's case, we need to put her salaries of 72,000 right here. So summarize this and we will get Teresa's ending capital balance of 366,740.22. Let's do the same to Patrick's. Initial investment is 180,000. Additional investment of Patrick is 60,000, which is the sum of these two. His share in the net income is 191,259.78. So let's add it right here. He has no permanent withdrawals, but he has a temporary withdrawal of 144,000 by way of his salaries. So summarize this also, and Patrick Jane will have an ending capital balance of 287,259.78 in 12/31/20 x 1. And that's it for this lesson. Again, partnership operations accounting is just centered in two questions: how to distribute profits to partners, and how much is the ending capital balance of the partners after considering his or her share in the net income and after considering or after deducting his or her permanent and temporary withdrawals.